If you grew up in the 1970s, you carry a way of thinking that's almost impossible to explain to anyone born after the 2000s. You were shaped by silence, by freedom, by a little danger, and by a kind of childhood that would get almost any parent arrested today. And yet, those years quietly built something inside you that still shows up in how you think, how you argue, how you trust, how you love, and how you survive. You grew up in a world with almost no supervision. If you disappeared for 5 hours, nobody panicked. You had no phone, no GPS. You had a bicycle, a couple of friends, and a promise to be home before dark. And even that promise was a little flexible. Deep down, that gave you something rare today. A quiet confidence in figuring life out with nobody standing over your shoulder. Even now, you carry this stubborn inner voice that says, "I'll work it out," even when you have no real idea what you're doing. But if you want to understand why your mind works this way, look at who raised you. Most of your parents lived through a war or were born just after one. Imagine growing up with a mother or father who knew real fear, real hunger, real sacrifice. They didn't talk much. They didn't complain. They didn't fall apart. They survived. And they handed that survival to you without ever saying a word about it. That's why you grew up faster. Responsibility wasn't something you signed up to learn. It was something you breathed at home. You helped. You fixed things. When something broke, you didn't throw it away. You repaired it. When something went wrong, you didn't freeze. You adapted. You never grew up believing someone would come and save you. The help was you. And here's the part people forget. That world quietly forced you to grow a backbone. You watched your parents work long hours and never brag about it. You watched neighbors help each other without taking a single photo of it. You watched adults carry the weight of real life without a word. That kind of environment shapes a child. It teaches you that life is serious, but that you can handle it. That problems are normal. That responsibility isn't a punishment. It's just part of being alive. You learned to be dependable because you had no choice. And that's why, even now, you feel older than your age. Not in your body, in your mind. Your maturity didn't come from a book. It came from watching real life up close, with no filter and nothing to distract you from it. And there's something almost poetic about your generation. You were the bridge. One foot in the old world, where everything was slow and raw and real. One foot in the new world, where everything is fast and loud and digital. You remember a life with no internet, no screens, no noise. And you've watched a whole generation quietly drown in all of it. Maybe that's why talking to you feels different. You're grounded. You're actually present. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're not chasing some invisible competition. Your calm comes from your childhood, your struggles, and all the responsibility you carried before you even knew the word for it. You're a living reminder of something simple. Strength doesn't come from being taught. It comes from being tested. Now look at the new generation, the ones born after the 2000s. They had phones in their hands before they could speak properly. Notifications, videos, messages, endless timelines. Their minds have been running at full speed since they were tiny, and you can see the effect everywhere. They tire fast. They get overwhelmed easily. Their attention slips away in seconds, because in a single day, their brain absorbs more than you saw in an entire week. Social media hands them connection, but it also hands them pressure. They compare themselves without even realizing it. They feel behind even when they're doing just fine. Their mind never truly rests because that phone never stops calling. Even when they relax, they're scrolling. And scrolling isn't rest. They're smart. They're creative. They're open in ways your generation never was. But they're also drained, overstimulated, and worn out in a way you never had to face. They're growing up in a world that moves too fast for the human brain, and they're trying to survive it one notification at a time. So here's my question for you. Which generation do you honestly think had it harder, and why? And tell me, were you born before 1980 or after it? I really want to know which side of that line you fall on. If this made you see things a little differently, hit subscribe. We go deeper every single day. And give the video a like. It helps these messages reach the people who need them.